Hello world, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second video of our coding tutorial series. In today's video, we are going to go deeper into the art of programming. Today, we will learn basic code structure using a Hello World program, learn to get output using the cout, and we will learn in detail about data types. So, let's get going. So, first we have to create a new folder in our desktop. So, create a new folder and I'll name it, say, coding tutorials. Coding tutorial. After creating the folder, so the folder is created now. So, after creating it, you'll have to open your code blocks IDE. There it is. Open the code blocks IDE. Now, what I'm going to do is, whatever we write in the code blocks, whatever we do, everything will be saved in this code blocks tutorial. We will change the directory in just a second. So wait for it to open up. Once it opens up, you know what to do. Select create a new project and console application C++. Now we will give the project title as Hello World. Hello World. Yes, that's it. Now we have to change the directory. Click the three dots here. A window should pop up right away. And under the desktop, select the folder that we have created. Click OK. So, the folder is set to ours. Click the next. Finish. And here you'll have to head out the workspace. Open the main.cpp file. Yeah, there it is. Our sample code, hello world. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to go to the settings and editor. The general settings should pop up. Yes. And the font section, I'm going to choose. Actually, I'm going to change the font size for you guys to see things clearly. The right side, I'm going to change the size from 10 to say 16. Yeah, good. That will be better. I think so. Yes. Now you guys can see clearly what I am going to do in the editor. You don't have to follow this step because the small font is completely fine for you guys. This is just for the sake of the video. Now let's delete all these sample codes and let's build from the scratch. You must keep in mind that the first 3 lines of all our C++ codes are going to be the same. The first line will be include IO stream. Below that, the next line will be using namespace std. And don't forget to put a semicolon after that. After that, the third line is a main function int main and open and close to parenthesis. After that, the curly bracket. All of our codes or instructions are going to be within these curly brackets. This is our area of work. Before writing the actual code, let's try to understand what these weird looking statements are. The first one is called the header file or preprocessor directive. Normally, codes are instructions to the computer to do something, but a header file is an instruction to the compiler to add an additional file into our code. I know, it's a bit complicated to understand, but don't worry, you will get to know it better as you advance through the tutorial. So the next line is using namespace std. It is also an instruction to the compiler that we are using namespace standard. It's a statement. It is too complicated to explain it in this basic coding tutorial because there is a lot to understand about namespaces and how they work. But just remember that it is mandatory after the header file. We may have another video on namespaces later. It is not important to know in depth about these things for you to learn how to code. But it's better if you know things a little deeper. So let's move on to the main part. the main function. int main. The parenthesis indicates that it is a function. More about functions later. The compiler will identify the main function and will execute all the codes inside it. So everything we write, all of our code will be inside the main function. That's a basic C++ code structure. Now let's write a hello world program in it to understand it much more deeper. So let's start writing. Please follow with me while I am writing the code. First, we'll start by writing cout. Then it's followed by two less than symbols. After that, in double quotes, we'll write our message. Hello world. In the double quotes, and after that, put a semicolon. In the next line, we'll write return 0. Semicolon again. So this is our code. Before we start to explaining things, let's see whether our code is right or does it have any errors. To check our code, click on this little build button on the top. On clicking it, on the bottom you will see different informations regarding number of errors, warnings and compilation time, etc. In our case, 0 errors, 0 warnings. Our code is perfectly alright. We are good to go. Now let's run the code. To run a code, you'll have to click on this little green play button on the top. It says run. There. Hello world printed successfully. So our code is perfect. Now let's explain what just happened. The compiler will go through the entire code, and when it comes to the main function, it will start to execute all the commands written inside the main function. In our case, this is the commands that we just gave the compiler. The first thing it came across was cout. Cout is a keyword that is present inside this input-output stream header file. Remember, we have included a header file on the top. This header file contains the information regarding this keyword cout. What it means that it tells the compiler that you should print something onto the screen. So the compiler will print anything that is written in this double quotes will be printed onto the screen. That's what this cout is all about. And remember, this operator, this two less than symbol, is associated with the cout keyword. And coming to the next line is return 0. Well, it's something that associated with functions. Our int main here is actually a function, an integer function. It is supposed to return an integer value as its output. But in our case, we are not returning an integer value. We are just printing something onto the screen. So we are telling the compiler that we are not returning any integer value. So we will just say return 0. That means don't return anything. We are already printing something. That's it. We just don't need any integer value to be returned. This is just optional. Even if you don't write this thing, I'll just delete it for you now. Even if you don't have it, the code will run perfectly fine. I'll show you. Let's build this again without the return. There. No errors, no warnings, nothing at all. It is just optional whether you write it or not. But when it comes to functions, when we will start discussing about functions, you will realize the relevance of return. But for now, don't bother about it. The thing you should be bothering about is this little semicolon here. This is very important when it comes to C++. This semicolon signifies the end of a statement. If you don't have the semicolon at the end of a statement, let me delete it now. If you don't have it, something bad is gonna happen. Let's build it there. Build failed. There's one error. What is it? Expected semicolon before there. This is the information regarding the error. The compiler is expecting a semicolon here. If there is no semicolon, the compiler will flag it as an error. So don't forget to put semicolon after every statement you write. So that is the way you print something onto the screen. You can print anything, even if you can have names, say the lone programmer will write the lone programmer will build it and run it there. The lone programmer. You can print anything onto the screen by using the cout keyword. So that's how you use cout. And now let's discuss about data types. If you like the content, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for more videos like this.